So this strikes me as the perfect opportunity for me to ask you about 1001 diverse books and your efforts to bring greater diversity to our literature.
Yeah, so I think for us early on in the inception of Mango and Marigold Press and when we were still called Barth Babies, I quickly heard from a lot of different communities, a lot of librarians, a lot of teachers who were just like, oh my God, these books are amazing. I just wish I could afford them. And our books are pretty typically priced, and it wasn't about the fact that our books were expensive. It was the fact that they didn't have the money or access to resources to get their books into the hands of really the communities that needed them the most. And so last year, right around this time, actually, 2001 Diverse Books campaign. And so my commitment as CEO of Mango and Marigold Press is to donate 1,001 new diverse books from each one of our new book launches to communities and literacy organizations that provide help to improve the accessibility gap in children's literature. The way our community can help us on that mission is with each new book launch, with each new pre-order campaign, you can sponsor a book for $10 and it goes to a kid and community in need. And through that campaign over the past year, we've donated close to 2,000 books just in this past year, which is pretty phenomenal. And we have had the opportunity to bring them to a lot of communities that needed them the most, especially in this time of COVID. We've done a lot of distribution of our books through free meal campaigns. So it's pick up a meal, pick up a book, and have access to stories that reflect your existence, stories that reflect your lived realities, and just new books. For so many children, a new book is a privilege. And I deeply believe that a book can change the world. And all it takes is one book to change the course of a child's life. And I want to help to make that happen.
Amy, is there anything you'd like to add about your commitment to this is a mission of Middle Grade Ninja, is to help encourage additional diversity within literature, and I know you're on board as well. And the reason I know you're on board is because you're editing this book. So, what is your commitment to diversity? What's your experience on increasing diversity? And I'd also like to know your thoughts on where publishing is in terms of are we approaching something like where we need to be, if we got millions of miles yet to go?
Well, I think that it is closer to millions of miles than it should be, is the short answer. So from my perspective, I'm white. And my background, when I was studying children's literature, I was very lucky in that I went through the program at a place called Simmons here in Boston. And one of the staunch elements of that was to start thinking in terms of colonialism and in terms of what messaging was being sort of targeted in the text that we were reading. And that really sort of changed my perspective. And I was very lucky in terms of in a myriad of ways, right, with my background in literature. But when I started working with Sailaja, I think my perspective changed even more, because I was thinking about specific children, whereas before I was thinking sort of in a broader sense. Now I was looking at the children around us. So I forgot to mention this in my bio as well, but I have 2 children. That's how I met Sailaja in the first place.
I have 2 children too. I did. We
forgot.
Didn't
it's fine.
We didn't forget. I'm just like, listen, I'm with them all day.
I know.
Let's talk about something else.
They get enough, right?
I'm with you. I also have a child. I don't wish to talk about him during writing time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my older son is in the same grade as Sailaja's oldest child, who's her daughter, Ojo. And I think that I really hadn't thought about the impact on individual children, right? I thought about the political element, and I thought about why it mattered for the broader context of literature, right? But I hadn't really thought about what it meant for kids to see themselves in books. And Sailaja can tell you that in the early days, one of the big things that we did was festivals. That was like a big part of what we were doing. And a lot of times it was just me and Sailaja sitting at a table, and the reactions that we got to the books, they really changed the way that I saw the world. The reactions, mostly in the positive, kids seeing themselves on the covers of books where they had never seen themselves before, kids seeing their names on books.
Adults, I think that
Adults,
like
yeah.
adults, like we Amy and I would regularly have at least one adult be brought to tears in our booth, because they were like, they were like, are you kidding me? There's like 5-10 books about South Asian kids that aren't just about Diwali, that aren't just about this one specific holiday. And I was like, yeah, take your pick. They were like, I get to pick?
It wasn't,
yeah.
and it wasn't just South Asian kids either. Like, nope. I wasn't there, Sailaja, but do you remember the story about the Padmini is Powerful, the mirror, in the last page?
Oh, yeah. So one of our books that's still out of print, it's called Padmini is Powerful. It's written by Amy, and it's this wonderful, empowering board book. And at the end of the book, there's like this little faux mirror, that like toddler board books have. And it says, Padmini is powerful, and so are you. And so you see yourself in the book. And I was at the LA Times Festival of Books, and this wonderful family, Latino family came, was hanging, and the mom was a single mom, and because she had told me that, and as we were talking, and she opened up that book and read through it. She's like, this is so cute, and then at the end it says, Padmini is powerful, and so are you. And she saw her face in this little mirror, and she just started crying. And she was like, do you know how rare it is for my brown boys to hear that they are powerful? They hear that they are gangsters. They hear that they can't. And you are telling them from birth that they can. And I was like, yeah, I am. And that there are many powerful moments like that I think certainly keep me going in the work that we do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fascinated by this idea that you're writing white characters and you've got other people in the class that are writing white characters as well. When you had this realization, did that make you angry, or did that just simply fuel you with a passion to go and do better? What was your reaction for all the authors listening that maybe have had similar circumstance in their journey?
It did anger me. But it fueled me. It really fueled me. Like I said before, I wouldn't go back in time and change the books that I read, assuming that there were books published back then, even with, that would have kids that look like me. I cherish those books, and the message that I want to send to people who have had a similar experience like that, and I know they have. I mean, I can guarantee you that, especially with any Indian author out there, for sure they've had it. Is that, don't let it anger you, but in a positive way. The message that I want to give is that, we're all equal in the sense of our struggles and our ambitions and our desires and our, our life and our friends and the want for family. That it isn't about one or the other. It's just about having all represented. I don't want to take away from white representation or say that's bad. That absolutely not. It's just that we need more of other cultures being represented. And that's how, and I also see this more as, the term that's very frequently used in the US is, POC, or person of color, or author of color. I see it as person of a different culture, or person of different, or author of different culture, because I feel like as people, we go through very similar experiences, And we have such amazing cultures and different traditions world over, white, not white, which I think need to be celebrated and also showcased to the world. And so I would say, let that fuel you and do the best you can in your most authentic way, in the stories that you want to tell about your own experiences and your own culture.